hauntings, cryptids, the unknown. Welcome to Mystic Moon Cafe Radio. Alrighty. Happy April Fools, everybody. We had Bad Seed Rising with Wolves Are at the Door to start us off, and then the opening. Me, Wendy, here on Mystic Moon. I've got June and Jake with me, and we're going to be all about the werewolves tonight.
Ow. Oh. I shouldn't do that. My dogs.
I'm going to get them started.
Right.
If Augie comes down, we'll sing.
We'll have a we'll have a howling party.
A howlathon.
Yes.
I love it. Oh, yes. One of my favorite topics.
Mm-hmm.
Werewolves.
We decided to keep it reasonably light tonight. The world is full of darkness and sickness and...
So we're talking about flesh-eating man beasts?
Exactly.
Okay.
But we know how to fight these, so there.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Very good point. And we have a treat for folks when they go to watch our YouTube video of this radio show / podcast, because we all have amazing backgrounds, except for June, because her face was disappearing. It was melting.
I can still kind of try it and see what happens now.
Well, let's get it off our system. Try it now so everyone can see this.
June's not really with us. She is actually the hologram.
That's right.
There we go.
Ooh, look at that.
My
awesome,
right,
June.
We'll do San Francisco now.
You always have a little ghost haunting you in the background.
Oh, that's doing some interesting things to your hair.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
The green.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do that. Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's totally
everybody.
Slimer.
Okay. Sorry if you're not watching it. You will have no idea what I look like.
So go to YouTube, and
Okay,
this is
I'm
in the
putting it
blooper
back.
reel, though. It should probably be a blooper reel. But okay.
Okay. We'll be back to normal.
Yep.
Normal.
Maybe.
Well, before we get to talking about werewolves, how are you guys doing?
I'm about worn slick. We went out and I helped Dee till up the garden area where it's been years since much has been done, and the old rose bushes died, so she had a few that needed to get put in the ground, and I took the garden claw and tilled a whole bunch of dirt and weeds.
Oh man,
Hmm.
I bet you're exhausted.
I am. I'm sleepy.
Oh,
I'll be okay though.
good. Glad your allergies didn't get you when you were out there. Yeah, I was going to say maybe they did. Maybe they did get you.
Just a little bit, but not terrible
Wendy
bad.
is now actually a pod person.
After all, after being in the ground.
What kind of seedling is this that I found?
Oh my.
I do appear a bit pink in my picture there, so I did get a little bit of sun.
Oh wow.
Vitamin D is important.
Mhm.
Yes, it is.
Especially with the bugs that are going around right now. It's like vitamin D kills a lot of them.
Mhm.
It does, yeah. And the good sunlight, and it
Yep.
was 72 degrees with a nice breeze.
Wow. I think we had a high of 47 today. It was
Yeah,
like, that's kind of like-
it was sunny too, but a bit on the cool side today.
Mhm. That is out in Seattle versus Kansas City.
Yes.
If people are curious anyway.
Yes.
But what about you, Jake? How are you doing?
Well, my quarantine. Well, I mean, just Washington's on lockdown, so we're all pretty much quarantined, right? But my quarantine from my trip ends. I am free of that period on Friday.
Ooh.
Yay.
And then you'll have to stay in again because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Because that's just the state.
Yeah.
Right?
So, you know, you're like free. You go outside and run around a little bit and then go back in.
Yep. Hi, I gotta check the mail. Get inside.
Yeah.
And you're like
Do you have
Mayor
papers?
Lightfoot in Chicago that's going around with her little flip flop. Get inside the house.
Oh my gosh.
Send a dog after that flip flop.
Yeah.
No, my money's on Lori Lightfoot, like kicking the ass out.
Oh my.
Shout out to Chi-Town.
And yet the governor of Missouri has not issued a thing.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
Maybe
it's,
everybody's already staying in. Maybe.
It was our mayor who the surrounding counties on both sides of the, you know, the state line there and everything. Mayor, what's his name? And
I know him well. Yes.
Yeah.
I know him well.
Oh, Mayor, what's his name?
That dude.
Yeah, him. But the boys are enjoying it. We go outside a lot into our side yard, and it's all fenced, and so it's good.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to, you know, still remain away from most people, but, you know, as a lot of you know, Spooked in Seattle had to close its doors. You know, the tours aren't closed, but the Deaf Museum is now all put in storage. So everything is done now. So, so I was helping with that, but trying to stay away from everybody and, you know, everything else. But
yeah, it's kind of hard to move and stay away from
exactly.
everyone.
It was a little difficult, but we managed to kind of have some distancing and everything, so nobody was right next to each other or anything. And
well, speaking of everyone, I heard you have a little special guest cameo for us tonight.
Oh my gosh, yes. I forgot to put him close to me. Hold on a second.
Okay. This may be a subject of a future
Surprise
podcast / radio show. Oh, we can't have dead air. Let's talk amongst ourselves.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I was scrolling. It looked like somebody else is in the chat room, or unless that was you.
You've got me and Mystic Moon is signed in.
Okay, well then.
Let me check the other chat. Okay.
You and I.
Yes. Ooh, June's back. Let's get this cameo.
Shh, don't. Hey, we got to stop talking about her.
Oh. She can't hear us yet. Talk some more
okay.
smack.
Okay. Talk about her some more.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. She's got some stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
I would like everybody to meet a very special guest tonight.
Just wait. Let me do the drum roll thing.
Okay.
I've got that sound effect. We might as well use it, right? Do we have a drum roll? Here, I'll do giggles. Here we go.
Okay.
Just wait.
Sorry.
Here's everyone applauding. We're just going to do this. Okay. We're getting lots of claps. All right.
All right.
Yay. We have our special guest, and that special guest is 3, 2, 1. Who's the guest?
Mr. Creepy. Hello. Yes, he is staying with me for a while. He is
You might need
Make
Gabby
his
to work on
eyes
his
stop
brows.
doing that.
yes. If those of you who do not know Mr. Creepy, he was actually at Spooked in Seattle, and he has been in a couple of books. One was Eerie Companions for Haunted Toys. Or no, Haunted Dolls. It was completely about haunted dolls. And the other one was the Haunted Toys books by Ross Allison and David Weatherly. So he actually is the antique dealer named him Mr. Creepy. He was made in the 1960s in the image of the ventriloquist, and he used his own hair.
Ooh.
So this is the ventriloquist's own hair. Yes. And I don't know what kind of hair he used for the eyebrows or the mustache, but
Woolly
we do not
mammoth.
touch that.
That was the waxing studio, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the weird thing about him is the antique dealer, when she came, when she had Mr. Creepy behind her in a glass case, she'd come in sometimes and the glass case door would be open. Then there were times that she would all of a sudden look behind her and his head would be turned a whole completely different way. And there were several times she felt like somebody was standing right behind her, breathing on her neck. So it freaked her out so bad, she put him in a box and put him in the back of the store. So that's when Ross Allison came in and said, hey, do you have anything strange and unusual? And she says, oh my gosh, do I? And so she ran and got him and sold Mr. Creepy to him for $1.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, dang.
$1. So, of course, when we got him to Spooked in Seattle, he has moved his head about 4 or 5 times, and he has moved his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's so weird about that, you say? How is that weird? Well, the only way you can move his eyes is there's a trigger mechanism in that I'm working on right now.
Can we see the trigger mechanism?
No, it's inside his little body, and I can't pull it out.
So you're fisting him right now?
Yes, I am. Actually, it's going through his back.
Okay.
So, just to let you know. And I'm sorry for people that aren't watching this. You are missing out. So you
Go to the YouTube.
Go to the YouTube and look at Mr. Creepy.
Kids, now that's something we should do is see if, like, if Jake's running studio, I can see about going YouTube live.
Oh, we could do that sometime. That would be
Possible,
that would be fun.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway, there is Mr. Creepy. And like I said, he's moved his eyes several times, but that's virtually impossible because you have to have a little finger back here and finger him to get his eyes to move.
How many fingers are you using on him, June?
Just one. He's very, very small touch. So, yes. Well, Wendy. Oh, I could use his mouth. I can't figure out how to use his mouth. Let's see.
Don't tell me that the maker's teeth are in his mouth.
Oh, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Oh my gosh. It's like I'm trying. I can't find where to open his mouth at. So
Okay.
So anyway, there's Mr. Creepy. He's a celebrity. You guys got to meet him in person, and now he's actually going to be in a nice little safe place until he's needed again.
Yay.
Bye, Mr. Creepy. Thank you for coming on Mystic Moon Cafe and Radio.
But I want to talk about werewolves. Okay, we'll put you down here, Mr. Creepy. I guess I never make a good ventriloquist. Although I did have a Howdy Doody dummy.
Ooh.
When I was little.
We could do like what are they? Puppets? Marionettes? I don't know. Puppets?
Marionettes.
What-
Aren't
I
the
don't know what you
marionette
call
things
ventri-
on the strings?
Yeah, like that was Team America.
Oh, yes, that was
Tupelo,
awesome.
Fran and Ollie, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know what your ventriloquist
No.
doll. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. We could do something like that. We'll book it.
I think that would be fun. And especially the history of ventriloquism. Now that is creepy as hell.
Really?
So, yes. It's pretty
Now
cool.
I'm intrigued.
It is. It's very interesting. Yes. You have to listen to Ross's talk about the ventriloquist dummies. It's really something. Mr. Creepy is the star.
Ooh, that's good. We'll totally have to do the YouTube thing for that one for sure. Because we need to see the puppets and dolls.
Yes.
And
Yeah, it would kind of be lost a little bit on people that are just listening. What does it look like? Because we'll have to describe each one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then we do make it a YouTube live or Facebook live.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome.
Yep. And I can do a photo gallery on the website.
Ooh, yes.
Ooh, yes.
So tonight, though, the
Oh,
subject
Tonight.
is lycanthropes.
I didn't check. What position is the moon?
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't check either. Alexa, what's the moon phase tonight? I'm sorry, Echo, what's the moon phase tonight?
The next full moon is on Tuesday, April 7th at 7:34 p.m. Currently, the moon is waxing. New moon occurred on March 24th.
Okay. So we got a week.
Woohoo. Mhm.
So,
So next show.
yes.
Pretty much. Yeah. We got
Yeah.
3 nights of a full moon. So there
We'll
you
see
go.
which one of us will turn.
Right. Look at my little picture over here.
Yes, almost. It's so close.
You kind of looked a little more like a little mouse from The Secret of Nim or whatever it was.
Yes. I think that's even better.
Jeez. Someone said Velveeta was here?
That was kind of terrifying in a small way. A little way.
Itty bit of terror. Just a
A little
tiny
bit of terror. Yeah,
Just a tiny terror.
I was a little scared.
Oh,
Now we have to
So-
talk about real scares. Maybe.
yes, we do.
You know, because for every one teen wolf, there's like a gazillion American Werewolf in London wannabes.
Yes.
And
What
since we're-
is, I was going
Go
to say, what is your favorite werewolf movie?
Ooh, I have a total countdown.
Okay, so why don't we hear what your countdown
My
is?
total, well, I kind of do a decade by decade since I've been
Okay.
alive. Okay, since I've been alive. So I'm
So
not going to make it
just-
back. I'm not going to make it back to like 1941 for Lon Chaney.
Okay, well, that's hopefully people have seen the classics, but if
Mhm.
you haven't, go check that out.
Okay. So my favorites are, and I'll just preface this to say that 1981 was the most amazing werewolf year ever because we have 3 classics, and we'll talk
Oh, we
about that.
do. Cult classics.
Yes. So yeah, we'll kick it off in the 80s.
That's
But June and
fine.
I weren't even born yet in the
Oh,
80s.
that's right. Hey, yes.
I know. You guys
Right,
were
Jake?
just like the most
Right?
recent Teen Wolf. I mean, I remember when you were in middle school going,
Yeah.
can I have like that Capri Sun? I really like tropical sun.
That was us.
Yep.
Mhm,
Yep.
So let's just talk about 1981. So we had 3 amazing movies that kind of set the tone. Now, one of them doesn't get as much press, but it's a really good movie. It's not really a true werewolf movie, but it's got wolves in it. So actually, my number 3 of the
Ooh.
1981 is American Werewolf in London, and everyone's
Mhm.
like, how can that not be number 1? And like, because when it comes to werewolves, I like horror, like straight on horror. And American Werewolf in London is,
Or comedy.
a comedy, dark
Well, comedy
really.
with a slight little
Dark
bit of-
comedy,
yeah,
yeah.
dark.
It has gore. It has gore, and
Mhm.
plus, who doesn't love a werewolf transformation in a porno shop? You know, porno theater, like
Right.
you know.
How could you tell the difference, right?
Exactly. There's nothing like, a little Bobby coming out and someone's getting their guts ripped apart with the porn in the back. Yeah.
But yes, I do love. I think my favorite part, though, of course, is when his dead friend visits him.
Yeah.
I think
When he
that's
keeps
my
decaying. Yeah.
I'm sorry if this is a spoiler for anybody, but if you haven't seen it by now, I'm sorry, but
Yeah, like the
You're
movie's
probably
40
not
years
going
old,
to.
people.
Yes.
Come on.
but I do love that. And
Yeah. For me, I think the creepiest scene, the werewolf transformation is right up there.
especially for that time period. I
Mhm.
mean, that was
Mhm.
like state of the art for that time period.
Mhm. And trivia.
Mm.
American Werewolf in London won the first Oscar for best special effects.
Oh wow! I guess I didn't know that. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I certainly did not. I would have figured it was more of a Spielberg. Or had any of his come out yet?
Yeah, his had. It's just this was the first time the Oscars gave an award for
Those kind
special
of-
effects.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
It was a new
But-
category. Okay.
Yeah. And what it was really nice, it was practical effects. It would have been, if you converted it to modern dollars, I think it would be more than a lot of movies cost nowadays to do the same kind of practical
oh
effects.
yeah, I bet.
Yeah. And it took forever to film and stuff. So like I said, it's that year, 1981, it's the number 3 for me, because it's just my personal preference. When we do werewolves, I want horror, straight up horror for it. Now, the second one doesn't get as much. It came out at the end of 1981, and it's still a straight up horror movie. It's also kind of a social commentary about blight and urban renewal, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Wolfen. And
That's
if you
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about Wolfen actually.
yeah, and it's not a true werewolf movie because it's wolf spirits. And again, it's been 40 years, so I'm not even going to drop the spoiler alert on it.
Yeah.
But it was essentially nature spirits coming to help reclaim and protect the land in New York City.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
I little bits coming back to me about that, but yeah, that was good.
Yep.
I really liked it. I forgot about it.
Yep. So I would say it's the most suspenseful because you never really get to see the wolves and stuff till the end. It's usually that weird, like thermal. They hunt by
and then
heat and
mm-hmm.
and stuff like that.
Otherworldly type of visions.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but my favorite movie from 1981, of course, has Dee Wallace in it, and it's The Howling.
Yes.
Freaking that.
My favorite.
That is, to me, like when all the modern werewolves, especially like I'm going to shred you and beat you up, it came from The Howling.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we could talk about the different werewolf types, but if you remember American Werewolf in London, it was really kind of more of a big stretched out wolf.
Yeah.
Werewolf.
Right.
And this is the 7 foot tall with foot long
that
fingers.
was pretty awesome. Really awesome wolf. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like these wolves, they're gonna tear you a new ass, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't anything nice about them or cute or cuddly.
Mm-hmm.
When they transformed, they're little sadistic mofos. They liked the pain they were going through as they transformed. Well, at least the junkie did.
There's always that one.
Yeah.
There's always that one. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so to me, from 1981, it is The Howling that to me stands up as the
only thing
werewolf
I
movie.
didn't like about that movie, and it was the very end,
Mhm.
I did not like her werewolf because she looked so cute, like a cute little Pekingese.
Right.
I mean, she was very, very cute. I know maybe it was supposed to show her
that little
personality.
nose. Yeah.
Come on, why didn't
Well,
she do this?
if we get into the different types of werewolves, that's one of the types.
Okay.
And usually, from a media context, so this is where I'm going to get a little academic with you and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Go right
But
ahead.
a lot of times with werewolf movies, it is the werewolf transformation fits the person and the context of that person's life.
Oh,
So
okay.
Dee
So that
Wallace
makes more
was-
sense.
Yeah.
She was good.
Uh-huh. So
Mhm.
when you watch a lot of the horror movies specifically around it, you're going to notice there's going to be a certain type of usually a werewolf throughout, because usually there's just one. But
Mhm.
in the case of The Howling, what was nice is you had like a pack of werewolves. There was a whole lot of werewolves
Mhm.
in this one. And you had the mean nasty ones that looked like demonic beasts from the netherrealm, and then you had cute cuddly Dee Wallace that looked kind of like a Pomeranian.
Yes, oh, I think that made me even more sad though.
Yeah.
Because she was so cute. Like,
But
come on.
then you got to say what, even though it's been 40 years, so she gets killed on camera, and then that's the end of that. And then they do the right before the credits roll, where one of the bad werewolves gets out, and she's a little sexy thing.
Yes. Yes.
And she was one of the ones that helped convert a lot of people into werewolves. And she orders a hamburger rare at the bar.
Yes, that was
I
really
think
good.
in Los Angeles.
That was good.
Yeah. So that's kind of,
And then she smiled.
and then all the other Howlings sucked, so we don't talk about it.
Actually, which one I kind of liked, and it was a little cheesy, but I think it was 4 or 5.
Oh, is
They
this
were
the
in
high school
castle.
student?
No, the castle in London,
Oh.
in the castle where they go to this castle and they're kind of all lured there because then they find out that they're all the same family line.
Oh, I remember that. It was just the new, like a beginning or something. Was in the
Maybe. I can't
Let's look
remember.
this
It was
up.
like that. It was like 4 or 5. Maybe it was 5 or 6.
because they had
Yeah.
a Howling one that took place at high school. In a high school, I like that one.
Trying to think of that one. I know I've seen them all.
This is why we have the interwebs.
Yes.
However,
Yay.
no subtitle as good as Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. Come on.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, so 5 is The Rebirth.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And,
I enjoyed that one. I mean,
yeah.
it was a little cheesy in some places, of course, but
Uh-huh.
I liked it.
Oh, I'm thinking The Howling Reborn is the one I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
That,
This one where they all go to this castle and
yeah, Reborn is the student, and then I think it's The Freaks. Nope, that's the carnival one.
maybe 3. Maybe it was 3. Maybe I'm going out too far.
But group visit an ancient Hungarian castle.
Yeah,
It is
that's
Howling
it.
5, the
Oh, it is
Rebirth.
5. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure. I was like, oh, but I enjoyed that one. I know. You know how my tastes are in movies, so don't put a big grain of salt on that.
I was a big fan of Hellraiser 3. Speaking of like the like sequels, and not
Yes.
everyone is into. I like 3, Hell on Earth. Yeah,
That was good.
different subject, but some of the sequels are like Friday the 13th. Like my favorite one in the series is actually Part 6, Jason Lives.
Really?
When he comes back, he gets skewered and they like Frankenstein him and the lightning bolt hits him.
That's true.
Yeah, that one had some sweet gore in it. Oh, but that's for another time.
Yes. We could do it. We could do a whole Jason show, actually.
We could we could do the
Dissect
movie's favorite
each movie.
kills, all that good stuff. But so Wendy, werewolf movies that we've discussed, and what do you?
You're just gonna laugh at me.
No,
You
go
can't.
ahead.
It's. I mean, like
We probably will, but go ahead.
That's fine.
Why would now be any different than usual? I don't have a 1 through 10 top ones, just ones I remember. So I like them, obviously.
Mhm.
Silver Bullet,
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
Mhm.
I love Silver Bullet.
Stephen King,
I like
the whole bit.
Bella with Bernie Wright's and art more than that movie.
I know that.
Well, that's you. And
Yeah.
I'm me.
That's how Wendy says Jake piss off.
Yes.
Just so you know.
I'm you and you're me. No.
You guys know
Okay,
I
yeah.
mean. Come on.
So Chupato.
No, I enjoyed Silver Bullet too. I think
Good.
it's the nostalgia of it too. It's almost
I think
like
so
a
too.
a
Mhm.
Hallmark. And when Gary Busey was still coherent.
Yes. Poor old Gary.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Let me see. Dog Soldiers.
Yeah, that's from
That
the
was
audience.
that was a very scary one that
Mhm.
really made you think afterwards, and you really don't want to go out in the woods for a while.
Who really does want to go out in the woods, Wendy? Who really does?
Occasionally, I can tiptoe in, but that's about it.
Okay. I don't want to spend the night in the woods or anything.
No, no,
I'll
no,
go out
not
in the
unless no, thank you.
you.
Another good one. I like Van Helsing. Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
That's a
With the
straight up. I mean,
werewolves.
that's a straight up action movie.
Right, yeah. And
I
it's
think
not
werewolves are
necessarily
great
a
for
werewolf
action.
movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Well, so the one from the 80s I didn't bring up that I liked was Monster Squad, because you had all the classic
Oh,
Universal
right.
monsters in it, and we had the
Monster
werewolf.
Squad.
And
Yeah.
and the
Another
classic line,
nostalgia.
Wolfman's got
Wolfman had
nards.
nards. Yep. I think that's a movie that's coming out.
Oh, it's a
they're
remake?
making you
Yeah, not a remake. It's going to be them older, and
Oh,
Wolfman's got
that'll be
nards.
fun.
That's what they're going to call it.
Wolfman's got nards.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people would know,
You know what? Actually, on my blog, I do have one of my favorite fight scenes is out of Monster Squad. And I put that on my blog as a top
Awesome.
monster fight. Yeah.
That was a great movie. I
It
mean,
was. It was so
It was
cute.
not a little kid movie, though. By
Yeah.
the way.
no, it really
It was a little
wasn't.
kid movie, but it wasn't a little kid movie.
No. Don't be a wuss. Yeah. Little Phoebe.
Aw.
Let's see any more. I personally really enjoyed the old 1941
Oh, yeah.
41
Mhm.
version. That would have been my first taste of Wolfman, and scary and creepy,
Yeah.
and I loved it.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all in its cheesy goodness. I just
Yeah.
think it's
Mhm.
just really, they have some, kind of funny lines, and not that they thought it was funny back then.
Right, yeah.
Now it's like, oh God.
I actually, because the show was coming up, and I did watch like a extended 10-minute scene out of the Wolfman from 1941.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and I loved, like, so
Changed the
let's
whole
be real
movie.
about werewolf. Like, nowadays it's much easier to do werewolves,
Yes.
because you can use CGI.
Mhm.
But back then, like, everything had to be shadows, and you had to cut away. I
Right.
think
Yeah,
the werewolf transformations were a bit more suspenseful at the
Yes.
time.
Yes.
You had to use your own imagination.
Mhm. Fill in the gaps.
Well,
and stuff.
on him too, though, you could tell that, he probably, who knows how many hours, they probably just kept, piling the fur on his face and then taking a snap, little more fur, snap. He probably sat there, who knows for how long, for his transformation where he just stood still and his face just turned into a doggy,
Mhm. Yeah.
Or
But I
wolfie.
love the sets too.
Wolfie.
Like, the forest was a set.
It's like nice and dark with the
Mhm.
fog
I
rolling
love the
in.
fog, and she's
Yes.
running, and the man jumps on her. It's going,
Guys,
passes it.
Wolfman's Got Nards came out in 2018, and on IMDb, it's got 4 stars.
What?
What? Did we miss it?
Yeah, we did, apparently. But
So-
I never even
Oh,
heard
we'll
about
have to
it
look
being
that
out.
up. Now we'll have to maybe do a watch party. I don't know.
Yeah. As
Let's
we all
see.
go to the interwebs to search.
Right, yeah, okay, I'm dropping links in the chat, so.
Okay, so it's a documentary.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So Wolfman's Got Nards explores a relationship, a dedicated audience, including celebrities and filmmakers, big shock, right? Has with the Monster Squad. This documentary takes an in-depth look into the film's conception, response, cult status, and revival.
Ooh.
Okay. So we totally have to do that.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely have to watch that.
Oh, and it has a Twitter.
Ooh.
We're going to have to explore this. Not right now.
Not right this moment, but Jake's been doing some amazing things as far as guests are being booked. So
Awesome.
we'll leave that a big surprise for the end of the show.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, what else in the 80s do we have? Oh, didn't Fright Night have a werewolf in it too?
I don't think so.
No,
I thought
no werewolf.
Maybe it has a big wolf. I don't know. Okay.
That one transformation scene when
Wolf-like.
Dandridge was becoming, it was
Yeah.
the froth and the
Mhm. Yeah. I will say though, the 90s not the best decade for werewolf films, because the only one I had that stood out was Jack Nicholson
Yeah.
in Wolf, and that was kind of like they rebooted Wolfman.
yeah.
In a way,
Mhm.
yeah. I thought it was pretty good. I like the you loser guy that all of a sudden, as soon as he starts turning into a wolf. But he doesn't really turn it. Well, I guess for a while he goes through that transformation where he's turning into, half man, half wolf. But then at the end,
Okay, so let's talk about the ending of Wolf.
Okay.
Because it's
So
kind of
spoilers,
controversial
if you don't want to know about this, just go la 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 la. But
the movie's like 25 years old. Come on. So I'm on the side when it comes to spoilers. If it's more than a year old, you don't need to say spoilers.
Okay, we will just do that.
Okay. So
Okay.
this whole episode, spoiler alert on humans. Okay. So people hate the fight at the end between James Spader and Jack Nicholson.
Why? I thought it
They
was
don't.
good
It's
against
like
evil.
they say
Or
it's
evil
filmed
against
with
evil.
dynasty lighting in slow motion. Talk amongst yourselves.
Well,
I like the slow motion.
yeah.
I-
I mean,
How
it
else
kinda-
would you do it? Yeah.
Like, you know.
I mean, they had like really great. They splashed around in a fountain. I think it was a fountain. Yeah. I was
Yes.
okay. I thought the werewolf makeup was a little weak myself. It was like they put, wolf eye coloring or eye colored contacts in, and some fangs,
Right.
and some dirty nails, and they didn't shave for a couple of
No,
weeks.
yeah, it was basically they were still men, but they
It
just
was-
had
yeah.
a few attributes. Yeah,
Nicholson goes
he kind of
natural for a week or two.
yeah, exactly.
So
I
I was kind of like, really
Mhm.
scared. I mean, Wolf
It was
not
subtle.
exactly a
It was
scary
not
movie.
scary. It was very subtle. It was like a loser guy all of a sudden gets great.
Mhm.
Starts changing his life for the better. Starts getting more suave.
Mhm.
But sad he's not going to be able to use those business skills. Running around in the woods now.
Yeah, and then he becomes a wolf at the end.
Yeah.
So
And then then her eyes turn, and
yeah, because she got scratched or something like that.
Mhm.
I mean, what I liked about it is, and I'm a big fan of like 40s horror movies, because there's always this dark romance thing going on.
Mhm.
Right.
And
Exactly.
they had the same thing going on with Wolf.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they meet, one day. It's like in The Mummy, he meets
Mhm.
her, and then 2 hours later, I don't know how I'm going to say this, my dear, but I think I'm falling in love with you. It's like, what? Come on.
What's the time delay here?
It was one day.
Yeah. I'm just like,
They're all
with
like that. I know. I love
Jack is probably, this one, Jack's probably like, yeah. He's like, I need to rut.
it. Yeah, that's probably it. Those
Isn't that pretty
days.
much every male? I can talk. Yes.
Take him to the spay neuter clinic. Come on.
Yes. That'll get that under control. Yes. And then
It'd probably
this
be
is why
like,
I
it's
don't
like-
make movies or write a lot of books.
that turns into a whole different kind of movie now. Because he has
I
a
will
cone
say,
on it.
he
Has a
might be
cone.
like, with that whole thing, is like, give me the noodles
Shame.
and make them like a little bit extra bigger.
Beautiful.
If I'm not gonna have real ones, give me bigger ones.
I like that.
And
Anatomically correct.
aren't they
So-
stainless steel? Sorry.
That would be great.
It's like, is someone at the front door? It's like, no, it's just my Uncle Bob walking down the stairs.
And they would be hitting his knees a little more. Oh my.
So also in the 90s, though, we had Bad Moon that came out.
Yeah.
And what I
I've
liked
seen
about
that one.
Bad Moon, though, was the German Shepherd dog threw down with the werewolf.
I saw a thing. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I always like it when like dogs will go after the monster,
Absolutely. Yep.
hmm And that
I will
was
protect you. Yeah.
So I like that one quite a bit. I forgot the actress's name in it though. You would know. They were like famous television people, I think, at the time. But I can't remember the names.
Oh, Mariel Hemingway.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, I remember now.
And who was the dude? He was on TV too. Was it Constance Mend? Something like that?
I can't remember.
Costas Mandalore.
I think that's his name. One sec. Oops. I'm trying to type and like monitor everything. It's not working out so well. I didn't say multitasking was my strength.
Yeah, Mariel Hemingway was in a lot of movies back then.
Yeah, like a lot of 90s
Yeah. Late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, B movies, just like Shannon Tweed was in every single erotic thriller.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes, the Skinamax movies. Yeah, she was in them. She was in them all.
I will say the 90s was the golden era of like straight to video erotic murder thrillers, you know? But like PG-13, and it wasn't like that crazy with
Mhm.
Yeah.
Michael Pare.
Oh, I was trying to think. I can't
Streets
remember.
of Fire?
He was on a TV show, a big TV show at the time.
Was he on Streets of Fire? Movie?
It was a cop show, I think.
I don't remember. I do not remember.
Just wait one moment, retrieving that information. He was on South Beach Komodo versus Cobra.
That sounds like a winner.
Well, there was a post-apocalyptic type movie, and it had little Cherry Valance from the what's her name?
Don't remember.
From The Outsiders.
I'm not sure.
Diane Lane.
Oh,
Diane
I
Lane.
remember her. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Michael Pare was the dude, and it was actually kind of a fun movie.
Like, I'm looking at this guy's acting resume on IMDb. It is freaking long.
Really? So he took
Yeah.
everything.
Pretty
He
much.
was a working
Mhm.
actor. That's pretty
Mhm.
awesome, though.
Yeah, that's good for him. He was doing a lot of movies and TV movies in the 90s. So anyway, but the 90s overall, he was in Eddie and the Cruisers.
Oh, yeah.
Houston Knights.
Okay, that's right.
That was the movie that I was thinking of.
Yeah, he was on
Sorry.
The Greatest
Mhm.
American Hero
Look at what's
as
happened to
Tony
me.
Villicana. But yeah, he was known for Eddie and the
Myself.
Cruisers. Didn't he
Okay.
have a pop hit because of that movie?
Yes, he had. What was it? Oh my God! I can't. Yeah.
We'll have to look it up.
Yes,
Anyway,
I know
so
exactly.
that's the
what you mean.
90s.
Woohoo,
And we move
90s.
into the aughties.
the
So
aughties.
2000 to 2009. The aughties.
Call it 0 E's. No.
I know, right? And we actually had like 3 big movies came out of that period. Well, actually, I guess you could say there were kind of 4 werewolf movies of note.
Okay.
Of course, Dog Soldiers
Right.
Mhm.
by far.
That was really great.
Yes.
I loved Dog Soldiers.
Mhm.
And this one's kind of cult. I don't know why it's cult. Maybe because it was Canadian, but Ginger Snaps. I love Ginger Snaps.
Actually, my favorite Ginger Snaps is Ginger Snaps Back.
But
I
that's
like the
second
one. I think it is. Yeah, I think it's the second one where
Sister?
they are transported back into the very beginning in the 1800s. when they
Oh,
go-
that's 3. That's 3.
That's 3. Okay.
Yeah, that's the third one.
I have to say that's my favorite one. That
like
is
that
a
one a lot.
really good one.
The
Yeah,
Ginger Snap series is pretty good though,
Yeah.
all
it
around.
really is.
I kind of like the second one because the mousy sister is transforming and she's trying to fight and stuff. But yeah, but the Pioneer one, the Frontier
Mhm.
one,
That was good.
that was a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, I just had a thought, but go ahead, please.
Oh, well, that was pretty much Ginger Snaps. I mean, you've
That was
got
about it.
Underworld came out, I think it was March
Yeah.
of 2003.
Mhm.
And it Underworld gets some crap, but I freaking love combat werewolves. Love it. Love it.
And especially
Mhm.
you probably love all their techie gadgets that they have, to kill each other. The vampires
Well,
versus
yeah,
the
that's
werewolves.
true.
I
Yeah,
was
they
going
have
to
the
say all the
liquid
different
silver
ones.
bullet.
Yes, the liquid silver bullet. I was going to say yes.
And they've got like daylight. No, the werewolves don't. Okay. I was thinking about holding this for another part of the show, but what the hell, why not? Like, to me, werewolves are the natural predators of vampires.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I really hate, because everyone's like, oh, I love tragic, romantic, sexy vampires. No,
No,
they're just little whiny little.
that's
Like
necrophilia. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, you're fucking a stiff. Let's be real.
Yeah. Use the other.
The stiff's been dead 800 years.
Yeah,
Let's-
exactly. Come on
I mean,
now.
I'm
Let's
like,
just
you're
hope
gonna
to God
stick
he
your
doesn't
PP in, it's gonna
sparkle.
come out black, rotting, and green. Come on.
Right.
Ugh. Ew.
Or,
And
you know, sparkly from the.
So what I liked about Underworld though is you have like Volkswagen-sized werewolves.
Yes, you
And they're
do.
like taking out the vamps. It's just
Yeah.
the vamps
Mhm.
have the tech and the vamps have speed. But to
and
me,
they
I'm
are-
just like, this is one reason I really couldn't stand True Blood, because the werewolves in True Blood just became wolves, like
Yeah.
regular old, and they got killed all the time. I was not.
Come
fine with that.
on, really? No. Mm-mm.
That's true. But I have to say, I did enjoy looking at Alcide. Just saying. From True Blood, Werewolf, you know. That I can't think of his real name right now, but married to Sofia Vergara.
Joe Manganiello or something like that.
Oh yeah. I did
He was in
like
Magic
watching
Mike.
him. Yes, he was a Magic Mike.
Mhm.
And I was going to say, you know, I was just hoping he didn't change into a werewolf, but the only reason I liked him changing is because he's completely nude after he came back, you know.
Mhm.
So I'm sorry, but you know.
It's perfect. And he was like Big Dick Richie in Magic Mike, so
Just use your imagination because we couldn't see it, you know.
we love entertainment.
Listen,
He just sighs.
what year did Cursed come out?
That's the next one I was going to talk
Yes.
about. Actually.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
it was
That's-
2000. I think it was 2005. It came out.
Okay.
I
I
enjoyed
mean,
that too.
totally campy, totally
Christina Ricci,
silly, but it was good.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
I think Cursed gets a bad rap. I mean, the whole thing, because Kevin Williamson wrote it, who wrote the first couple of Scream movies, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. So it kind of had that
Okay.
vibe about it, which I
It
like.
did. Mhm.
And that movie went through so many reshoots and
Oh, really?
editing, and I think it changed studios. So I don't think by the time we actually saw it, we're kind of like, "Meh." I mean, I appreciate it now. At the time I
Oh,
watched it,
yeah.
I'm like,
Mhm.
you know, okay, it's a competent horror movie.
Mhm.
But it's, you know, Kevin Williamson's always known for his opening sequences. And I did enjoy the Czech foreign exchange student getting ripped in two by the werewolf to open, getting ripped out of the car and ripped in two. Because I think they just found the
yeah.
first half of her crawling.
Yes.
I'm just like, ugh.
Well, you know, them going to the gypsy fortune teller, you know, I always like that because all of a sudden they go to like somebody you know is pretty fake.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden they get a real vision. Like,
Mhm.
oh,
Mhm.
seriously.
Oh, what was that movie? Oh, Drag Me to Hell. That had
Yeah,
an
that was-
amazing gypsy.
Oh my God. That was so gross. Drag me to, I mean, it was, I have to say, I enjoyed that movie a lot, but they have a fight scene. If you haven't seen it, they have a fight scene between an elderly Romanian or gypsy woman
Mhm.
and this other young woman. And it's like a real no holds bar fight scene with lots of mucus.
Yes. That's a Raimi thing though, because didn't he do you know, the cabin one, Evil
the
Dead?
Evil Dead, yes.
Yeah, talk about mucus and body fluids.
Yeah, that was so gross. That part was.
We
But
might
yeah.
have to do an episode on gornography, because
Favorite gore scenes.
yeah, gornography, because you know, like Saw, Hostel, it's just like, you know,
Hatchet.
you're just doing, yeah, you're just doing gross to do gross.
Yeah, you're trying to top yourself each
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
like, come on. But you know, that's when it gets to the point where you start laughing hysterically instead of going, ew, you're like, oh my God.
I mean, don't get
can't
me wrong,
believe
I
you did that.
love a horror comedy like Hatchet. I mean,
Mhm. Tucker and
let's
Dale.
talk about the glories of the Pez dispenser kill in the first one.
Yes, where they rip the top of the mouth up and the tongue's like going, la, la, la.
And blood going,
But it looked so
like a
hilarious.
sprinkler system.
It wasn't gross. I mean, I have to say, I mean, to some people.
It was disgusting.
Maybe to you,
But
it might have been gross because I think a lot of people it probably was gross. So I'll change that when I say that.
June doesn't get grossed out.
I don't get grossed
I don't
out
know
very
why.
easily. But it was more funny because you see the tongue go and blood just splurting everywhere. It's just like, oh my God, that was hilarious. Sorry.
you know, it depends on the movie because, like, when you're watching Saw or Hostel, you don't go, "Oh my God, that's
No.
hilarious!"
No.
You're sick and wrong
Hostel
if you do
is
shit like
awful. Yeah, no. I can't. That's actually one movie. That's another one of those movies I don't want to watch again because it was just really sad.
that. Mhm.
I mean, a lot of it was just really sad, and
Yeah.
it's just like, ugh,
Especially Hostel
gross.
2 with the girls in it, and then when they took Heather, she was in Welcome to the Dollhouse, and they did the lady. Who was the lady back in the day that bathed in virgin blood?
Oh, Bathory, yeah.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Bathory.
Yeah, and they had a scene like that, and I'm just like, there's absolutely no point whatsoever.
didn't really
Kind of like
need
that.
Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, really? Why? Why? Just tell me
Mhm.
why.
So that takes us through the oddies, unless you guys have another werewolf movie that really stands out during that period. But I gotta
Can't
say,
think of
werewolf
them.
movies don't come out that often. It's not like
No, they
vampires.
don't.
Right. Well, I mean, this wasn't about a werewolf, but it had a big werewolf scene. Was in Trick or Treat.
Yes,
You know?
yeah, from
Mhm.
2000.
Love that. Was like 2008 or something.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out in 2007, but got released in 2008.
Okay.
And it's got Anna Paquin losing her
Mhm.
virginity.
Yes.
That's
It's really good.
That that one slipped my mind. And I didn't even see that coming. I did not.
No, I really didn't
No,
either.
no.
I was kind of I was, and then when you watch it again, you're like, how didn't I see that coming?
Right.
Yeah.
There were hints, but you just didn't know. It could have gone a whole lot of different
Mhm.
ways.
Exactly.
I thought they were vampire. I mean, they had already shown a vampire earlier in Trick or
Mhm.
Treat.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be some kind of vamp thing, or maybe they were witches, but I didn't.
Mhm.
I
Right.
didn't see werewolves
Mm-mm.
coming out of it.
Yeah, I have to say I was really surprised too. But
Mhm.
that movie I just love,
I
love how things kind of intermingle with each
Mhm.
other,
Mhm.
and then at the end you're like, oh my gosh.
Mhm. Yeah.
So great.
That was some tight storytelling there.
Mhm.
I mean, when we talked about our Halloween movies, I had Trick or Treat was right up there. Remember when we did I think we did a Halloween horror movie countdown or something.
Mhm.
And then when we also did one for Christmas as well.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
So now we have this decade that just ended, the
Mhm.
teens.
The teens.
The teens. And I've got really three movies that stood out to me over the entire decade. Like I said, I think if werewolves weren't so expensive to do, you probably might have more of them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's like in Van Helsing. Even though I really like that movie, some of the CGI
Yeah.
I just was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
on.
it was.
Couldn't you
mhm.
spend like $2 or $3 more for a little more detail?
That brings me to the first movie that came out in 2010, and that's the Benicio del Toro
Wolfman? Or just- was it just called
Wolfman
Wolfman.
remake.
Right, right.
Because at the time I thought it had pretty cutting edge effects in it, but now when I watch the werewolf transformations, which is all CGI,
Mhm.
Mhm.
like because no, it's just aged.
Mhm.
But the Wolfman itself holds up with the practical makeup and stuff on it when he's in wolf mode. And that was kind of weird to see Anthony Hopkins as a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Disturbing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you're gonna
A
give
little
him a heart
disturbing.
attack, dude. I mean, he's like,
He's like
Well, now isn't he?
150 years old.
No.
yeah.
I was recently watching a video of him where he's like being, he's quarantining himself in the house and he's playing music to his cat. And and I think he said he was 82. I think he said he
Okay,
was 82
okay.
years old now. So Yeah. But yes, you see the cat sitting in his lap and he's playing some sonata, something on the piano, and the cat looks at him lovingly and it's like, oh, he's so sweet.
And then goes and pukes in his shoes.
Yeah, probably. That's probably the next step.
As cats do.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, go ahead, right in the, you're like, you cat haters. I'm like, well, you're listening to a show about wolves, so.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
And a girl with German Shepherds, so.
And I got 3 pit bulls, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there.
I was gonna say we're probably not the most cat receptive audience.
Yeah. I'm kind of the cat lover, I guess, but I
like
actually
cats.
love cat and dogs equally, you know,
Okay,
basically. But you know, I would love to have a dog. Actually, it's just like, you know.
Well, speaking of the 80s, we could step back on the subject of cats and werecats. If you remember Cat People.
Oh yes,
Yep. Mhm.
Cat People
Mhm.
with Nastasha
um,
Kinski.
yes, that was pretty good.
Now, wasn't that a remake of one from, say, the 40s or
Yeah.
It was.
50s?
Yeah, they did
Mhm.
have one, but I don't. Well, I can't remember it very well, but I know I watched it. But I don't think it was the same thing to where the
Not
weren't that
quite. No,
horny.
it
Yeah.
would change for the
right.
times, I guess.
1942.
Okay.
And it was directed by Jacques Tourneur
Ooh,
and starred Simone Simon and Kent Smith
Mhm.
and Jane Randolph.
Ooh.
It came out on Christmas Day, 1942.
Oh,
Oh, neat.
wow.
It was film noir.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
That's interesting. You can't escape coronavirus. I did that in the news right below it is coronavirus can infect cats. Dogs,
Oh.
not so much. Another reason to have a dog. What were you doing? I was cleaning the litter box and I got the corona.
I got the corona.
Right. Is that what we call it these days? Cleaning the litter box.
Yeah.
We shouldn't jest about that, but what the hell?
No.
We're on a gross topic and talking about death anyway. So
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
And you know what? If I couldn't make a little bit of fun of it
I know.
to get through it, my head would explode.
Yeah, that is true.
True.
It's like you have to have a little bit of levity, even though it's a
Mhm.
horrible,
hmm
horrible thing that's happening right now.
So the next movie I've got here, some people like it, some people hate it. I liked it. Was Red Riding Hood from 2011 with Amanda Seyfried. Did you pronounce it Seyfried?
See, I wore my red.
I'm not sure.
Red-
I
Oh,
There
I
we
thought that was
go.
Handmaiden's Tale.
Actually, I was just really chilly, so I put it on. But now, that I think about it,
Blessed be
well
the fruit.
done.
yes,
Practical
I was like
and
going,
whimsical.
exactly. Oh,
So I mean, I did like Red Riding Hood.
yeah.
Some people are like, "Meh." I'm like, no, like I
It's
was
all
okay
right.
with it.
Yeah. I
It
didn't
was a
hate
little.
it.
It was a little forgettable for me. I
Mhm.
can't remember a lot of it, and when I usually can't remember, it was just like it just didn't leave a really big impression.
No, it's just
So-
because we had a dearth of werewolf movies in that time frame, so I remembered it.
Okay. Cool.
And I like Amanda.
Siegfried, whatever. Yeah.
Next one I think was a direct to video. It's I think it's a Belgian movie, but it took place in Paris,
Where?
and that's where
Mm-hmm.
from
I was gonna say,
2014. I
Never
like
There.
that one.
even heard of it.
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
like the twist at the end and everything.
It's like if I remember it.
So
know I
there was a
watched
family
it.
that gets murdered in the French countryside, and they think it's like this hermit type dude, and they bring him in, and then he kind of transforms into a werewolf and kills everyone in the lab.
Yeah.
And he's running
Yeah.
around Paris, and they're shooting shit up. I'm like, yeah, like I said, I love an action werewolf.
Bravo.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I mean, you will notice as the movies have become more recent, werewolves have become more actioneers,
Right. Yes. Mhm.
you know?
That's true.
And the other big thing, like I said, because of the cost of doing werewolves, you either get, it's like there's two types, which will take us into the next, I guess, segment. You either get, the big howling style werewolf, and which we see in Underworld,
Mm-hmm.
or you just get a big old wolf a la
Right. hmm Possibly animatronic even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Twilight.
Yes.
Did you just give your mic coronavirus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me cleaning my mic.
Oh.
Where's my Lysol, damn it. I'll just lick it.
Yeah, it was a little disturbing that I have to say a few of my friends were lusting after that 15-year-old boy that was changing into a werewolf in the Twilight movies. I'm like, guys, this is a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though he had muscles and he was built, he still was. Well, I think he was older than that, actually. But
I don't
Probably.
remember that actor's name.
Taylor Lautner. Lautner?
Okay.
Lautner? Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if we
He
want to
was
talk
cute.
about like muscly, yummy werewolves, besides like Alcide, who's probably like the I'm a sexy macho dude like werewolf, but I'm gonna just say it.
Okay.
We had Derek Hale and Peter Hale on Teen Wolf TV show. Mind you, their werewolves were kind of like
I
Jack
did not
Nicholson's
see that
wolf.
at all.
Oh yeah, it's
I didn't
like
see
total
any of it.
bromo. Total bromo.
I'm gonna have to like go back and just watch some of it.
Yeah.
I did not watch any of the teen. Yeah,
Oh yeah. I mean, like the seasons weren't anything to write home about, but like it only took like you had I can't remember the character's name that is the actual Teen Wolf, but Peter Hale is the Hale family. They're the werewolves, and then I can't remember the kid's name.
So this one's different from Michael J. Fox's version?
Yeah. So this was
Okay.
on MTV, and again, he's a teen werewolf, right? But they have lots of other like there's coyotes, there's snakes, there's
Oh.
chimeras who are mashups.
Right.
Oh, and actually, one of my favorite mad scientist villains came off Teen Wolf, and that was the Dread Doctors. But that's for another day.
The Dread.
And they were like steampunk experimenting with werewolves and all the other wares and stuff like that, and mashing up. It's like, ooh, let's take some were spider and mash it up with a coyote, and let's put a drop of
Like they did with
Scorpion.
like they did Adam in
Buffy.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite
Yes.
that season of
Yes.
Buffy sucked. But anytime you get like demon with monster and cyborg
Mhm.
empowered with a nuclear heart that's glowing green,
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
I mean, that's amazing.
I have to say I love the ending of that one. When
When she
Yeah.
when she
it had
Channeled
all
the
of
channels
them
all
in.
of them.
Yes.
Well,
Mhm.
let's be real. Willow and Tara channeled the gods into
Yes.
Well, true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But they manifested through Buff.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then she like floated it and it dissolved. And
Mhm.
That was pretty cool.
Mhm.
And something like We
might
Are
have to do
Forever.
we might have to do a favorite Buffy season. Big
Yeah, I
Bad
don't think
countdown.
Tara was not in there yet.
No, Tara helped Willow cast the spell. It was season 6. Tara was there
Okay.
because in season 5, Tara remembered Glory
Okay,
Mhm.
did the
I'm
fine
okay.
job on Tara.
I keep thinking that Adam was number 2 for some reason. That's
Oh, yeah,
right.
season
You're right.
1
Yeah,
was the
that's
He
right.
was
Master.
a
Master.
number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was. Yes.
Season 1 was the
Was it?
Master. Season 2
It was the principal.
what Angelus.
Oh my no. What about the principal?
That was season 3 and 4. Season
God.
3
Oh.
was the principal.
I'm getting them
because
all
Buffy,
mixed up.
Yeah, because Buffy was a sophomore in season 1.
Okay, that's right.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then so we have season 2 is Angelus or Dark Angel.
Yes, that was so
Mhm.
sad.
That was so good. I
So
love
good
that.
and so
Yeah.
sad.
And then
Faith.
what I loved about season 3, because it was the principal, this is my favorite Buffy season, is season 3, but they also put Faith in it.
Yeah, with Faith.
And
She
then
was yeah.
was season, I can't remember season 4. How come I cannot remember? Just wait, Big
Let's
Bad
see.
Buffy season
Let's
4.
see.
Unless
And
that's the
let's see.
principal.
What season does Oz become the wolf?
He was
Still in high
showed
school.
up in the second.
Yeah.
He showed up in the second
Yeah.
season, but he was gone by the 4th season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that storyline. It was like,
Me
oh,
too.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking.
yes.
I thought Glory, Adam. Oh, Adam was season 4. Oh yeah, because that's Buffy's first year at college,
Okay.
and then
That's
Glory
right.
was
Because
season
then
5.
she met, what's his name? Yeah, her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Riley.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Riley.
Yeah, Riley.
Oh, Riley. Oh, come on.
While they're fighting the gentleman.
Yes,
the one thing I
that's my
never got
favorite.
it was like Buffy and Spike. I'm like, girl, we gotta talk. Like
She
Spike was
she
not
was
nice.
hurting. She was hurting.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Season, what was
What are you
season
gonna do?
4?
Yeah.
Mayor was season 3.
I wouldn't have done it, you know.
Yeah, so
No.
Adam was season 4. Glory. Season 6 was Dark Willow / the trio. So you remember the 3 nerdy dudes in the van?
Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
Warren.
And then, season 7, I know they had to go big, and we got the first evil. What I really like more about that, besides all the ladies becoming like slayers,
Right. Yeah.
was like the waves of the vampires and the big battle at the end.
That was pretty
And
awesome.
I think my favorite villain though was the Twisted Priest, Nathan Fillion.
Oh, Nathan Fillion.
Right. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
I kind of
When she
liked
splits him from stem to stern.
Yeah, and I kind of liked him as the other than the first evil, because the first evil was kind of just it shape changed a little bit here and there. And,
Yeah, it was more like all talk.
It was really just kind of like a mean girl.
Yeah.
I mean, girl, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, but my favorite, and we'll get back on werewolves, but my favorite villain in Buffy time is Glorificus.
Oh, Glorificus, yes.
Loved Glory. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
And
like
her
the mayor,
fashion.
the mayor was the best big bad, but I love Glory.
I hated though that they brought Dawn in. She was the most
no shit.
annoying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
She's
have
the
to
key.
say.
I'm like, would
Yeah,
someone
I
just
know.
like rip it out of her then and end the shit? Come
It's
on.
like just throw her off the scaffolding and then say Buffy.
Please.
Yeah. I was just
Oh yeah.
because I couldn't get over the whole thing that she's not real.
Yeah.
Right.
But now she
It's
she
construct.
was, you know.
Yeah, she was a construct.
She was
It's kind of
made
like
into real.
yeah, it's kind of like when you're watching the movie AI. We've divulged. We'll get back to werewolves in a minute here. But remember AI? Haley Joel Osment or whatever, the little robot boy. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, there's me!" And I'm just like, "He's got mechanical parts. Come on, I can take the kid apart with a screwdriver. Who cares?"
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't like Alita then.
I
Oh,
was
the
wondering
battle.
about that,
Well,
yeah.
The Battle
that-
Angel.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen
but-
that yet.
but
It's I like it.
That's a
I was going to watch
chick
it.
cyborg that kicks ass, though.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm good with that.
Okay.
I'm
You
good.
like-
But some
okay,
annoying
ask it.
like 10-year-old that's a robot, I'm like,
Yeah.
take the spark plug out of this little fuck. And like, he's eating spinach. It's gumming up his parts. I'm like, well, then throw him in the dump. Order
you-
another one off Amazon. Come on.
You probably weren't a fan of Small Wonder then.
I don't remember.
Remember
This one.
the little
Was that
girl
the TV
robot?
show?
Yeah, that horrible, stupid
Oh yeah,
show.
no, I would bash the
I
kids.
think it was
side in
called
with,
Small
like, a meat.
Wonder.
You got the meat tenderizer. Hey, come here, Small Wonder. Clank, 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 clank. Take them
That's
apart.
not
I need some
that's not
Ethernet
compute.
cable. I gotta extend my cable servicing.
Little
my
Drano
God.
will clean him out slicker than snot.
Yeah. Okay, but on the TV show, so we did have Teen Wolf, which is just total bromo.
Mhm.
Okay. Scott McCloud was the name of the other character, but their werewolf transformations was essentially the same as Wolf. It's like give them a little more beard, some fangs, dirty nails, and
They were good to go.
that's about. And then run around shirtless. Even though I will say, for being very wolf, there was a whole lot of waxing going on for werewolves.
Yeah.
Nice smooth chest. Really nice smooth chest.
I'm just like, wait, what? Is your family Chinese crusted?
What's going
Werewolves
on?
idea.
Oh my God.
But if you know Penny Dreadful,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
was a
yeah,
werewolf
that
on
was,
Penny Dreadful.
hmm
But he was the same thing, and we could talk about the different types of werewolves. But that would be called in werewolf lingo. It would be called a pug.
The
So
bug.
that just means they mainly retain human features. They might get a little prog. I don't know what the prog. What's the word for nose, like prog.
Snout.
Yeah, we can go with that. But there's like
Okay.
a scientific name for it. It starts
No,
with prog.
Prague.
And I'll have to look that
Isn't
up.
that a place in Europe?
Yeah, Prague.
Their schnoz kind of
Schnoz.
bumps out a little bit or stays about, growing some whiskers, the eyebrows get all willowy like you're an old Welshman. The ears get little points and you get those dirty nails. Your Lee press-ons are about 6 thick and pointy. That's a pug. Essentially not overly hairy, stuff
Excuse
like
me.
that. So technically speaking, Wolfman would be a pug.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Just wait, I have this
Little
stuff
puggy.
on Ghostly, the 4 transformations.
Well, there's like perigee and apogee, which is a made wolf as opposed to a born wolf.
That's true, and we could talk about that when we talk about becoming a werewolf, which I think is pretty interesting stuff, actually. 'cause-
And we may need to move it along. I'm not trying to rush us, but
here we go. 4 types of wolves. Okay. So you've got the werewolf, which is the big thing from Howling and Underworld. So,
Mhm,
7 feet tall monsters, can bench press a Buick.
well, yeah.
Yeah. So 7 feet tall, black gray fur, no tail, long fingers, claws, it's the Howling. And,
Right.
and
Which
and
kind of
Underworld.
wolf can peel the wallpaper off of your walls when it passes gas? Because I may have one here.
Maybe. Oh no.
That might be a dog man.
The dog
Maybe.
That is Canis effluvius augi
Like
doggius.
that. Yeah,
Much
doggies.
as psychoticus.
It's like, damn, who made the
Psychoticus.
wallpaper wheel? Damn. We gotta talk about that Elpo.
Yes.
It may have been the Cajun fries that I gave him from my
Oh, my,
Oh,
yeah.
spicy.
Oh my.
That poor
My
puppy
fault.
dog. It could be a very cornucopia.
Cornucopia. Oh, corn.
I can't give my
don't
puppies
remember any
anything.
corn.
Yeah, it's like if I want Mikey's back end to blow out, make sure he gets some like chili mac.
Oh my god.
Oh, what is it that Orlando Sanchez? He calls it Deathane. When the dogs
Deathane.
Deathane,
I like
yeah.
that. I like that. That's
Mhm.
very descriptive. Yes.
I'm gonna use that one for.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Daisy actually is the one that's got the very
Aw.
powerful bowels. My little baby girl, my
So
little honey
sweet.
bear.
Aww.
So we have quadruped werewolves next, which is like American Werewolf in London.
Okay.
And so that I call that one, that's kind of like your stretched out wolf,
Yeah. And with a little, almost like a bear type of a
Yeah.
hunch in its back. And
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah.
And like kind of like a mane. They kind of got a mane and stuff like that. But that's like what you see usually when they don't have a budget to do practical effects. They do like the quadruped ones.
okay.
We just talked about pug wolf,
Right. Right.
which like Penny Dreadful, Wolfman,
Mhm.
Wolf, Teen Wolf, those are all pugs.
Right.
I've got pictures of this on my monster site, Monsters on the Web. So if you go to Werewolf Transformations or just search for it, you'll find the article.
Awesome.
And then, of course, we have full wolf, which is you just become a wolf. Like,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and then there was that one movie. Oh, it was horrible from 2007. It was French. No offense, French people, but we got to talk. A bunch of werewolf movies. But it was
Right.
like Blood and Chocolate. Yeah.
Oh yes.
I was like watching. I'm like, what is this bullshit?
Mm-hmm.
And it does that little. It's like a leap, and then she becomes.
Bring
a
me the
little white-
silver, please.
Yeah,
I don't
just
even
like, wait,
hardly
what?
remember. I know I've seen it.
I
Man,
did
just
too, but I
block
can't
out a lot.
remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
Except it
Oh.
wasn't good. Yeah.
yeah. But the French did come out. I think it was about somewhere around there. Now all of a sudden I'm remembering all these oddies werewolf movies. But they did the actioneer about the Beast of Gévaudan.
Right. Right.
It was a martial arts movie, and he did fight.
Oh, one of
big
my
werewolf.
favorites. But no, it wasn't a werewolf.
Oh, it wasn't.
It was what is it called?
I thought they thought it was a werewolf.
They thought it was a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really good movie. Oh my god, what's the name of it? But no, it was not a wolf.
Mhm.
You find out at the end it was not a wolf
Yeah.
at all. And
Well, I mean, it was
Was it a different were, or was it?
No,
It was a
okay.
serial
not
killer.
Even it was not even a.
Oh.
It was not even a wolf, but it had big teeth.
Mm.
What's the name? My Brotherhood of the Wolf. That was it.
Oh, okay.
Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Oh, I think I started watching that. And
It's very violent, but it is such a good movie. Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's just the whole storyline is great, and yeah, it's very, very good. And the ending, you're like, oh my god, it's a little heartbreaking, but it's really good.
I think that wolf behind Jake is eating his earphones.
Wasn't Jake? He's disappearing. Come back, Jake. Come back.
I just washed my mouth with the Listerine and that makes that spit.
Look, Jake is now a shade.
Yes, he's now a shadow. He's now a shadow man.
Let me turn up this light here. Okay. That might help some more.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's like dark here in
Right.
Washington State. And I think I got lost in the. Wow,
No,
that's
it's
bright.
dark.
God damn.
Yeah, this is very bright.
God damn.
Still wasn't quite as cool.
Ooh, that's
as June,
brighter.
though.
Ooh, wow, that's like frying my eyeball. This is like Indiana Jones when they open the ark.
Yeah. See your face start to melt.
Oh, nope, that's no good.
There we go.
We'll go with this. Okay. Where was it? Oh yeah, so those are like the 4 kinds of wolves, but we could go into how you become. What was it? Yes. Oh, it's Daisy wants to debut. Baby girl, do you want to come in? Do you want to come in?
She wants to talk about werewolves.
While I retrieve my little girl. She's kind of related.
Oh.
Well, one of these movies too that we just didn't talk about was also What We Do in the Shadows, which was actually a vampire movie, but it had a great werewolf, great werewolf section in the What We Do in the Shadows. Okay. But it was all a comedy. It was all a mockumentary.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't seen it, you've got to see that movie because they are werewolves, not swearwolves.
How is the series, the TV series? I don't know.
I think it's really cute. Don't compare it to the movie because the movie to me was like absolutely top notch.
Okay.
But the series is really cute, and it's one of those things where I watched it at first, and then I went back and watched it again, and I really enjoyed it even more the second time because I caught a lot of things. And what's really cool about it is they have a big trial for some vampires. And all these vampires that used to be in other shows, other movies, are actually the judges. So it's really cute because Pee Wee Herman, he was in the first Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie.
Oh, yeah.
And he was
with Christy Swanson.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, with Christy Swanson, not with Michelle Gellar, Sarah Michelle Gellar. But he was like one of the judges, and then they had the Countess or the Queen, the Queen from True Blood in there, and Danny Trujillo, who was in Dusk Dawn movie. So they have all these different werewolves that have been, are not werewolves, vampires that have been in vampire movies before, and they have Wesley Snipes actually on a monitor. Yes, he's Skyping in for the trial. But yeah, it's worth it. It's worth seeing it. So, and they do have a great werewolf, kind of fight scene, which is hilarious. So yeah. So do yourself a favor and watch that. It's really worth it.
Well, I mean, if we're on the subject of fighting werewolves, do we have favorite actual fights?
Favorite fight scenes in werewolf movies?
I do.
I was gonna say in Underworld, they have some awesome fight scenes in Underworld.
Yeah, that's tough to any movie. That's kind of tough to go up against.
Van Helsing fighting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dracula.
That's what I put on there.
Yeah.
So let's just deconstruct Van Helsing's because that's at the end.
Okay.
So let me get to my blog post because I put my favorite fight scenes down.
Okay.
Because I'm like that. I mean, I'm going to my category werewolf. Okay. So werewolf fight scenes. So my lead off one is Van Helsing.
Ooh, okay.
And this is where the werewolf is taking on Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this, it's very CGI, folks.
Very,
Yes.
very. Mm-hmm.
That's
But
kind of bugs me with that.
Yeah.
But
Well, when you think about it, so they're like in Dr. Frankenstein's lair thing, right? So you got all the equipment, and Drac is turning into a giant bat and flying around, and the werewolf is grabbing him and slinging him around. And eventually it ends with, I think, Drac getting slammed into the electrical thing, and then he gets electrocuted and bursts into flames.
How
yeah,
did that end?
I'm
Here,
trying
just
to
wait.
remember.
I'll watch it.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll wait.
Just wait, you can watch it too. Let me take this off.
That's true.
Okay. So Drac's like, oh, we're friends. And he's like, rare. Yeah. Ooh, there's a rare right now. Oh, damn. Oh, shit. Okay. So the one thing that I didn't really like about it is because the werewolf keeps turning into human because
Right.
And going back and
clouds block
forth.
the
Yeah.
moon.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then Van Helsing, Hugh Jackman, who's totally shirtless, of course,
Yes, of course.
turns into the big werewolf, and there he's smashing him.
Yes, he
he
does.
ripped out his throat.
That's right.
He ripped out his throat.
Mm-hmm.
This is really loud.
Since it was in the prophecy.
Now, does that kill him that time? Because he staked him once and
Yeah.
nothing happened.
Yeah, so he's bleeding out.
Okay.
He bleeds out and then
Oh,
disintegrates.
that's right. It's kind of icky.
Yeah. I thought there was this one, though, where he throws the vamp on some kind of electrical generator thing, and it sparks, and he catches on fire and burns up.
I don't
That would
remember
be a
that.
different one.
I'm sure it's in a lot of movies.
Yeah. And it might even be like Frankenstein's monster shoved Igor into that or something.
Mhm. And so for my next fight, we kind of talked about this one already, was from Wolfman, Benicio del Toro versus Anthony Hopkins. I'm like, come on, you're going to break the dude's head.
It's a little unnerving when you know how
Yeah.
elderly he is.
I got to tell you, because I was watching like Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull or something like that one. And Harrison Ford's like 70 when he's filming, and he's doing all these stunts. And I'm just
Right.
don't fall.
Stop.
down.
Don't
I could
hurt
not
me.
watch Indiana Jones do stuff. I'm just like, don't. No.
Mhm.
Still a national treasure. You must die a natural death.
Yes.
So I wonder what the next one's going to be like, though.
Yeah,
The
I
next movie is going to be like.
Yeah.
I mean, what he's going to be? Is he going to be like in a classroom and just, I wonder.
I don't know. I
Please
think
don't let him do
it's
any
like-
more stunts.
Yeah. So the thing though that
Or
was
crystal
kind of-
skulls.
Yeah. So the kind of with the
Yeah.
Wolfman that kind of let me down is the movie's like 10 years old, so I'm gonna spoil it. But Anthony Hopkins gets decapitated. And it shows his head rolling.
Well,
He's
that is
burning.
one way to kill a vampire, or excuse me, werewolf.
Yeah.
Or did he just burn
Grenade
up?
won't work.
Nope. Put all the pieces. Sheep. All the pieces back together, and then he jumps up.
No, I think he burned to death here. No, I saw his head transform back to normal somewhere. Oh, yeah, no, he got his head cut off.
Okay.
Yep. It's right there. You can't see it. It's right there. And it's burned, and the rest of him's burning up next to it because, they
okay.
burned the house down at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like, even though it's not that long, it's that thing about, I like a nice prolonged werewolf battle.
Oh,
I like to, I want to see like a good form, like when Hulk smash in the Avengers, like Hulk smashes and smashes and smashes.
and smashes. Yes, that's true.
The next one is from 2015. I don't think many people have seen this movie. It's Freaks of Nature.
I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, it's
That's
werewolf
surprising.
versus vampire, and of course, it only made my list of the werewolf wins. So, spoiler alert.
Okay.
And this is like high school stuff, and I will have to put that. It's a long battle, but it's kind of like very old, powerful vampire going up against teenage werewolf doesn't know any better kind of stuff. That's a nice little fight. with lots of vampires dying.
Well, now if you want to go awesome fight scenes, the Mercy Thompson book series.
Okay.
Oh shoot, I lost the woman's name, but
I have this thing called the Google. Give me a sec.
okay, all right, sure, no problem. But
Google.
like, you know, Adam Hoffman and his pack of wolves, and they are in some hellacious fights, and it's
Patricia
just
Briggs.
yes, and that's a fantastic series. Now, Mercy herself is actually a coyote shapeshifter, and her
That's right. I was like, I read the first one.
mhm.
Now that you
And-
said that, the coyote shapeshifter, yes,
Yes,
I forgot about that.
And if you
That
haven't
was
read
really
it, I
good.
won't give too many spoilers. But like,
That was
her
really
dad
good.
is actually Coyote, the trickster Native American god type guy. He's kind of a dick too, but hey, whatever.
No, that was really good. I enjoyed that. I was like, I forgot
The
about it.
whole series is just
Yeah.
fantastic.
Well, I think I only read the first book, and then I jumped to the Alistair Stone Chronicles, and now
Sorry.
I'm on number 20. Number 19.
You're almost
on that
there,
one.
June.
Or am I on 18? I think I'm on 18 right now.
Okay,
So, yeah.
okay.
So then I think I'll go back to the Patricia Briggs series. And
There
do
you go.
those, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, actually, right now I'm reading a book called The Historian. I'm reading, I'm listening to a book called The Historian. And it's a more of a vampire book, which is really good, Wendy. I think you would actually like it too.
Cool.
It's an older book, but yeah, it's really, really good. Just saying.
Sure. I got nothing against them. I just prefer the furries.
Just the furries, yes.
Although there was that one that after about the third or fourth book, I had to just stop because I was leafing through most of it and it was just not good anymore.
Well, what about the Dresden Files werewolf?
yeah.
Werewolves.
Billy and
Billy
the Werewolves sound like a band.
Yes.
Yes.
That was really good, yeah. That's very cool.
But yeah. Meanwhile, Jake, I know you don't have much time to read, and that's probably not your genre anyway.
Well, it's got monsters.
Yes, it does. Lots of them.
Are they like monsters in love?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But there's fae and there's vampires and there's
What's the carnage count?
huge. But it's a book, so you have to use your own imagination.
That's not really a problem for me.
Okay, well, like Mercy's husband is ex-military and he's, in all these government installations and stuff, and he is always having to kind of swoop in and help Mercy out because she usually wins the day herself. But awesome wolves. The British wolves with the potty mouth,
Ooh,
The
Now that
I love
sounds
swearing
nice.
werewolves.
But
Yeah.
it's a really, really good book series.
I'm definitely going to have to go back then.
Mhm.
Since
And this is Mercy Thompson.
Yes.
I have to start picking up. I used to read the Dresden Files. I might have to go back and.
Well, that's coming out in July 14th, I believe. His
it's the next book?
Peace Talks.
Okay.
The 20th anniversary, the 20th book.
Okay.
oh, cool.
Because I've got the Dresden Files role-playing game,
Ooh.
like D&D, but Dresden Files.
Oh, that would be fun.
Can we
Mhm.
do that like online?
We can do a Zoom one for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can
Say,
get virtual
Jake.
dice. What?
that would be fun.
We could all get our own dice actually and roll.
Oh, that's true. Take your webcam.
Move
Saving
me
throw.
some
I'm like,
faces.
let me see the dice. We have to see the dice.
No,
Found
that's what it
footage.
says. You have to
Yeah.
believe me. Found footage. Oh my.
A little GoPro on her head. It's like,
Yeah,
show me the
there it
dice. Show me the dice.
It's day 4.
Yeah, we can't stop. be fun.
Yep. Actually, it would be.
We should do that.
I think it'd be
Oh,
great.
Ross can do it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Does Ross do role-playing games?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you mean like games? Oh yeah.
I'm like, Dungeons and
No,
Dragons.
just
type.
kidding.
That's when I say role-playing
Yes.
games, they're like, what? I'm like, I know that's role-playing.
Yes. No, he
But-
does. He has Dungeons and Dragons games. He has
RPGs.
zombie games. He has-
RPGs.
RPGs. Yeah,
Yes.
I have actually a shit ton of RPGs. If you go into my big walk-in closet, I've got all the White Wolf stuff. So this is, you heard about Vampire the Masquerade. You heard about Werewolf the Apocalypse, Mage.
I've never actually engaged in them.
I
Yeah,
have-
no,
yeah,
I was
you-
always the reader.
Okay, yeah, you can play a vampire, you can play a werewolf, a
Ooh.
mage, wizard, warlock, whatever you call them. A
Can
mummy.
you be all three?
You can be a ghost. We could do that mashup. You could be a hunter. and hunt them.
Oh.
You can be
Okay, but I'm not
a
driving no
beast.
Chrysler.
like a kraken reborn
Chrysler.
in a human body that must consume flesh.
No. Ew.
A little salt. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, all we need is a little paprika.
Makes everything better.
Yeah, it's like
Or Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah, like how would you like your June fricasseed? I'm just like, can I have June kebab?
June kebab.
You have hummus and some tzatziki for that?
I do like my feta cheese.
I like my fettuccine.
Fettuccine.
What kind of relish goes good with June? Is that butter pickle?
little jalapeno jelly.
Yeah, I think that would be best for me.
Oh, if it's June, I recommend the banana peppers.
Oh my gosh, it's really scary. Well, with the apocalypse coming, I better be careful.
No, that's true. Well, just remember, if it's fried, it's riot.
Oh no.
It all
Everyone's
tastes
like-
like chicken.
It's like, oh, is that a hot tub? No, it's boiling Crisco. But anyway, push.
Well, you know what they say. It takes all kinds of fritters to make Farmer Vincent's fritters. No, it takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent's fritters.
Just wait. Did you see?
Do you remember that?
Do you
Wendy?
remember
Motel
Hell?
Oh, no,
remember
I never
Motel
watched
Hell?
that one. I didn't
That's-
watch it. Sorry.
Meat's meat, man. Gotta eat.
Yeah.
Oh, that chili's real good. What is
Roadkill Cafe.
It's so bad. Yeah, it's one of those so bad. It's actually pretty hilarious. It's a comedy, but it's gross comedy. But yeah, we'll have to do a whole series on gross comedies.
We will.
Horror
Oh,
Because,
comedies.
like, I'll have
Tucker
like
and Dale.
Black
Yeah,
Sheep.
Tucker and
Tucker and
Dale,
Dale.
hands down.
Yeah.
My
Black
favorite.
Sheep, Dead Alive.
Black Sheep. Yeah, that was great. Oh my god, that was a great movie. Oh my god, that was funny. We could go on and on with that.
Wendy just pulled out some Corona napkin.
Corona napkin.
It's gonna live.
Spreading it in there.
That viral booger is gonna live for 24 hours. You need to like wrap that up.
Oh
You'll
my
see
god.
all that on the YouTube video, people. Plug.
It's all right. It's allergies.
Mhm.
Just wait. Maybe since we're
Yeah,
still
my
on the
asthma,
subject
too.
of werewolves, maybe I can get Daisy to make an appearance real quick.
Let's see if
Aw.
Daisy
That
will
means I have to pick her
appear
up. Just a second.
for us. Oh,
Little werewolf. Daisy's the sweetest little dog.
oh!
I love how he just keeps.
He disappeared. These are cool effects.
It's a little baby.
Oh,
Aw.
hi, Daisy.
Hey, Daisy. Hi, Daisy. She can't hear us probably
I'll
because
just say hi.
He looks
I'm
thrilled.
not talking to these people.
Oh, give me.
Daisy. Daisy.
He's like, yeah. She's like, yeah. I'm done.
Mikey, you want to say hi? No. Okay.
Not really. I have more
Mikey's
important
like,
things.
nah.
Hmm.
It's like I have
will,
more important things.
I will cut you.
Yeah, Daisy wasn't very happy with me. She might kiss my pillow.
Aw. So Jake,
Yes.
how would one become a vampire if you wanted to become a vampire?
How about a
Vampire.
werewolf?
Oh, that might be good too. Since we're talking about werewolves. Why do I interchange vampires and werewolves so easily?
I know.
We were
When she was
still
just
on
talking all
sparklies.
about the Alseed.
Yes. Yes. Werewolf. How would you become a werewolf if you wanted to do it yourself?
Yes. Okay. So there's a few ways.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's open to debate, and it's changed over history. So when it comes to becoming a werewolf, probably the most common is the curse. So for the longest time, curses is what turned people into werewolves. Now, sometimes you were cursed by the gods, and sometimes you were cursed through other types of magic, or you've committed horrible crimes, and it just sort of happened. So if we look into the classical era, it was pretty common that if you spited a god, she's giggling.
You see Wendy's backdrop? She's getting eaten by a wolf now.
Go to the YouTube, watch that. You've got that's the picture for the article.
Yep.
She's stealing my IP. That's okay. That's Monsters on the Web. Thank you very much. Okay.
Hey, I had to download them anyway, so
That's true. That's true. I did send these pictures. Yeah. Like, if you talk about probably the first curse, this goes back to Roman days. They have
Romulus and
be
Remus.
surprised by this name, Lyokin, which is where we got lichen from. He was father of the year, and he killed and barbecued one of his kids.
Oh, nice.
And was feeding it to Zeus, or someone who claimed to be Zeus. And Zeus.
So he didn't even check see if it was really Zeus or not. He just said, "Okay, here."
Well, he had like 50 kids, and he gave no F's about them. So
I see.
Anyway, so he fricasseed one of his sons, and was feeding it to Zeus. And Zeus found out that the chicken
Zeus
didn't taste right.
Pissed off God.
Oh, yes.
And so he transformed him into a wolf as part of it. Now, there's a couple of other things from that period. Like if you committed murder, a lot of times you would be cursed just for committing the crime, and you'd be turned into a wolf. But you didn't really get like man becoming wolf at this time. It was you were just created or transformed into a wolf, and you were a wolf.
I see.
Yep.
Now, there's another couple stories between the period after ancient Rome, but before the Vikings, that period of time.
Didn't Loki, he created a wolf.
Fenris?
Fenrir.
Yeah, who guarded the gateway to hell.
Right. But he was a werewolf, theoretically.
Oh, I thought he was just a three-headed giant wolf.
Well, I didn't know that he was three-headed. There's a lot of different storylines for that. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the other things, though, is if you committed a crime, you would be transformed into a wolf for a period of 7 to 9 years, and then sent off into the wild, essentially. And then, after you served your time, you came back and you were 9 years older or 7 years older. But what we think about with wolves and werewolves really kicked in when the pagans, the Norse pagans and the Germanic tribe pagans, were being incorporated into Christianity, because they had a very robust mythology around wolves and werewolves and having the spirits inhabit them. So you hear about Viking berserker rages and stuff, and they would wear the pelts of wolves and all that stuff. But in those cultures, actually being a werewolf wasn't a bad thing.
No, actually, it might have been helpful.
Yeah. And so that's the mythology with the cursing or using magic to become a wolf itself. Now, if we look at more modern times, though, this is where we start to get the bite or the scratch. Now, what's interesting about this is more of a modern thing. And when I say modern, it's like 1700s, late 1700s to more present time. That's where we start getting say you got bitten by a wolf, you survived it, you could become a werewolf.
Interesting. Okay.
And the scratch itself is rather hit or miss. Like on
It's the
TV
bite.
shows. Yeah, it's usually the bite has to do it, and you have to survive the bite.
Yes, that's the key.
Yeah. And then there's a couple of other things that goes into it as well. And there's like a lot of constraints on this, because if you think about it, if everyone got scratched or bitten by a werewolf, like you'd have a bunch of werewolves running around, right?
That'd be true.
Not necessarily. Oh, I love it. June is like Smurf blue. See-through.
With horns or something.
I know. She's using mutant powers.
I thought I'd put my little wolf right there by my ghost.
I see.
Now I'm a ghost too.
So with the bite, the scratch is kind of a newer thing. It's less effective. But there's a book called A Werewolf's Guide to Life that really goes into the bites and the scratch. And it's pretty much you would have to be bitten by a werewolf under a full moon for it to take. That's a pretty limited set of time. You know what I'm saying? And then the other thing is not everyone that gets bitten by a werewolf actually becomes a werewolf either.
Right.
So, but that's probably the most common. What it says here from my research is it has to be on the 3 nights of the full moon. The bite must break your skin and saliva must enter the bloodstream, because now the modern take on it is lycanthropy is a virus, is an infection.
Okay, anybody listening, I'm sorry that I'm cracking up giggling while Jake is talking, but June has Mr. Creepy up in front of her virtual background, and
June talk so we can
holy cow.
talk, June.
Rolling his eyes around.
Mm-hmm. But she has to talk, so she takes over the main part of the screen. Is she listening to us? June, are you?
I didn't realize I was muted. Sorry.
June has a werewolf back there. I see the werewolf now.
Hello, children.
Oh, that's a dead body back there.
Right in Mr. Creepy's mustache. Sorry. Okay, I'll put him down. I'll behave.
Ain't no thing. I mean, we only got like 17 minutes. So let's go. We talked about the curse. Oh, and here's the other thing.
Yes.
Talking about born werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
So generally speaking, it's the baby daddy that passes on the werewolf gene.
Yes.
Because
the mama werewolf cannot survive. The baby can't survive the transformations. Because
the body gets rebuilt.
Right.
Now, there's another thing that is more of a common thing is for the longest time, I mean, you had the 3 nights of the full moon is when you would transform. But now everything's just for convenience and for movies and books and all that. You can transform at will.
Right. Yeah. If you're strong enough.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the other take is, do you keep your intelligence? Do you not keep your intelligence? Does the beast take over?
Right.
And that all kind of fits the plot of, the movie or book that you're reading.
I was going to say, because most of them, they don't keep their intelligence.
Correct.
Most of them. But maybe they have a teeny bit of intelligence. Just a teeny bit, some of the movies.
Yeah. But, this is the thing that I really like about, and this is the part that makes, I think, more horrific, is if you get overtaken by the beast, when you become a werewolf, but you still have your awareness as a person. It's just you can't fight the instinct.
Right. The wolf is in the driver's seat.
Yeah, those are my favorite ones, and you kind of see that with the Wolfman.
Yeah, he never makes peace with his wolf at all. So.
And then we have Teen Wolf, and he dunks basketballs.
Yeah. And he gets the ladies.
True.
Who are into bestiality.
If I remember.
Fur fetish.
Yeah, the kid from Twilight that turns into the wolf, his name was Jacob.
Right.
I think.
True.
Mhm.
He was awfully waxed for being werewolf too.
Yes. Had to show off the muscular.
Jacob running nose.
Yes.
Oh, we did talk about this one. Have you guys watched the Canadian series Bitten?
Yes.
I
Yes, I
liked
did.
I think I
Bitten.
have.
That's
wait
kind
a
of-
second.
It
I
was-
did see. I
Yeah.
saw the first episode. I haven't watched any more though. I'll have to go back. and
It's
watch
the Canadian show where the guys always get butt naked.
Yes. Yes, they do.
She never does. You never see her bits, but
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out again. I watched the first one, but I don't remember too much of it, so I'm gonna go back and watch it because I think I got distracted by something else that came out, and I watched that instead.
the one guy's
Okay.
butt.
Probably.
And the Viking type guy, he's always butt naked running around.
Just yeah.
Hey, why not?
Oh, there's also a Hemlock Grove.
Oh, I
That
never,
one was interesting.
I never
Mhm.
watched that show.
Mhm.
I know
was
of it. It was
interesting.
like
It
one
was
of
kinda good.
Netflix's first series.
Yeah,
Right.
it was
Mhm.
kind of good. I
Mhm.
think so. Yeah, but it was a little sad.
Very sad. Yes.
I guess that means everyone dies.
Not
Not
everyone.
everyone.
It's got
Not
a
everyone.
carnage count.
How blasé we are about that.
Yeah,
Not
not
everybody
everyone.
dies.
There's a few, but they deserved it.
Yeah, they're
No.
expendables.
One didn't
They're
deserve.
red shirts.
Yeah, one didn't deserve it, but yeah, the rest, yeah.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, those were the days.
Mhm.
Yes. But anyway. Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think we hit up like most of my werewolf content.
Oh, your werewolf.
How about
Maybe.
their powers? Their superpowers.
Oh yeah, we could talk about powers and weaknesses.
Mhm.
I find everyone's pretty consistent with the powers.
Right.
I think what's different is if they retain it in human form or not.
Hmm.
So
Most of them don't, do they? Except for
some-
Jack
a
Nicholson.
couple like a little more than your average human. So we all know werewolves are super strong, but it depends on like the context. So you got
Mhm.
you've got your what do you call them? We were just talking werewolves. What's the movie? Celine, vampires, werewolves fighting Underworld.
Underworld, yeah.
Yeah, those guys are like super strong.
Your
and stuff.
battle wolves. Mhm.
Yeah. And then you've got something like your pugs, which are, there's probably twice as strong as the normal human. So it kind of depends on the world you're in, but they're going to be stronger. They're going to be a bit more resilient
Mhm.
as well. So in some cases, chopping off a head's going to do the trick every time, right?
Right.
Usually, yeah. You
know.
would think so.
Yeah. But
Maybe. Yeah.
maybe, right? Well, usually for werewolves, you cut off the head, just like a vamp. You cut off the head. That's pretty much it.
With the silver blade.
Silver is debatable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Silver is debatable.
Unless the head does come back on and grows back.
I don't think it
know.
does.
Right.
I've
Yeah.
never seen
it
one
could
that
happen.
doesn't.
Yeah, because usually when werewolves get parts cut off, it reverts back to human immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I've seen movies where they had like their hands cut off and it's growing back, and they show
Grows
all the
back,
little
yeah.
Right,
bones.
yeah,
It's like a
exactly.
chicken foot coming out at you. Yeah. So they're a bit more resilient. So, but even in human form, like corona won't bother them. They won't get diseases or
Very
poisoned.
healthy.
Do they get fleas?
They might.
Well, not
Maybe it doesn't
Jacob
care.
from Twilight and not the Hales, because
'cause
they're
there's-
waxed.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, they're all-
It's kind of like the females and the transformation.
Mhm.
As soon as they come over, that's like all the fleas just fall off.
Yep.
Like, damn, what happened? I was having
Uh,
a good
you got a
time.
little frontline issue going on.
It's like, excuse me, Mr. Werewolf Alcide, we have to check for ticks.
Ew.
Yeah, so they're faster.
I'll
you know,
volunteer to
dexterity
check him for ticks.
or dexterity. Yeah, night vision. You got night vision tracking. You've got
Well, sure.
healing.
The
Oh yeah, the schnoz. Yeah, the tracking with
sense
the
of
schnoz.
smell. Mhm.
So let's just put the healing in perspective because we were just kind of talking about this. So when they're in full-on wolf mode, it's accelerated, but in human mode, it's kind of scaled down. So what I
Mhm.
mean by that is
A
for a
little
normal
faster
person,
than mundane.
yeah,
Mhm.
if you were a normal person, if you broke your arm, it would take 6 weeks to heal normally. They might heal in 6 days. And if it was a werewolf, it might be like 6 minutes
Mhm.
kind of thing. Then we talked about the claws and bite, and like their claws, they can rend metal, and bite, they can bite through like prison cell bars. So that's pretty consistent between all of them. Like if we're talking the pug thing, like Wolfman, and probably not to the same degree, they're a bit more human there. But like the big werewolves is what I'm getting at. But the weaknesses, this is open for debate. So we'll just get to this
Okay.
because we have like 4 minutes and stuff. So head wounds
Or 9,
will
whatever.
do you in. Head wounds, that's gonna smart. Mind you, you might need an elephant gun to take them down.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
Yeah. Limb removal, so sometimes it grows back, sometimes it doesn't, but generally speaking, if they are human and they lose the limb, it will be gone when they become a werewolf. However, if they're a werewolf, you cut off a hand, they might revert to their human form and have the hand. So that's kind of... But human mode is where they're most vulnerable because, if you can kill a human, if it kills a human, just remember you probably won't be able to poison them. Magic will do them in.
Now you see, in a whole lot of my readings,
Mhm.
they're a little more magic resistant than nothing. Not completely, but they are more resilient.
I can see that.
Yeah.
that. Because when you think about the origin of most werewolves, they're cursed.
Right.
So there's magic, supernatural stuff involved. I got it. Okay.
Mhm.
Somewhat true weaknesses, I'll call them. Wolf's Bane. So
Right.
if Wolf's Bane will poison a regular wolf. But remember, werewolves are not regular wolves.
Right.
And usually they can smell it and can avoid it. So you've heard some things like, we'll make Wolf's Bane gunpowder and blah, 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 blah. Don't count on to work for a werewolf. The other one is...
Doesn't it repel them, though? I mean, if you put it around your house, if they start to come over, they smell it, and they're like, ew.
Yeah, they could avoid it, but like if they want to eat you, I think they're going to break down the door.
Oh, break down. Okay. Darn it.
The other one, and this is going to depend on the source. This is a newer one. Silver. In the original writing, silver had no effect on werewolves. It is a more recent phenomena.
When did silver come to play, I wonder?
I was reading about this like in the 15 and 1600s, like when they were testing people for being werewolves. Just so you know, at that time, 1500s, 1600s, 1700s,
Spanish
up to the
Inquisition.
1800s. Yeah, they did have werewolf trials. It happened in Europe. It was in France, but it was mainly more intensive in Switzerland and Austria, Germany.
Yep, sure. Black Forest.
When they were testing for werewolf, silver was never brought into it.
Interesting.
What they thought a werewolf was just you were turned inside out. So if your skin on the outside, rip up some skin to see if there's fur underneath it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so they cheese grated people, man.
Nice.
Such great times.
There's like, here, let me just
Yeah,
snout under
I
that
guess
face.
they're fine.
Like, oh, that had a sting. So don't count on silver. Like I said, silver is more of a recent phenomenon. Because when the legends and lore were coming up about werewolves, silver just wasn't listed.
Wow, that's interesting.
And then some things that just are not true. Mercury.
Quicksilver.
Yeah. Mercury will not affect them. As I like to say, wooden stakes. I'm like, it's a werewolf, not a vampire.
Not a vampire.
Right.
And then they're talking about salt. And I'm like, okay, that's seasoning.
A little seasoning.
But wait. Maybe a wooden stake, they toss it, and the wolf goes after it,
Fetch.
giving you a chance to get away.
I could see if
You
it
can
was
fake them a couple times till
Yeah.
they're way out there.
that might apply to were pit bulls, right, Mikey?
Yes.
Oh, Mikey's in the chair. Oh, Daisy has got to be pissed. So I have a chair behind me that Daisy always sits in and lays in. I turned around and I'm like, Daisy, did you gain some weight? And I'm like, oh no, Mikey's in the chair. And I'm like, Daisy is like sitting patiently under me, like,
Are you going to do something about this, Dad?
I'm just like, just give me a little time. I got to have a show and then we'll just have little Mikey scoot.
Uh-oh.
We love you, Mikey. My little monster.
Aww.
So that's pretty much my bit on werewolves. I flap my gums a lot on this one.
That's pretty cool. I enjoy werewolves.
Dude, they're my favorite monsters. If we had to rank our universal classic monsters, and we'll even throw in the Gillman for this one, how would you, on our way out, how would you rank your universal classic monsters?
Classic monsters.
So, like, we have Frankenstein and vamps and werewolves.
The Mummy.
Invisible Man, Mummy.
The Mummy is actually always been my favorite because I think that was the first scary movie I really saw. Scary movie I really saw, and I love Boris Karloff. So, but the Wolfman definitely number 2. And I'm not a major fan of vampires. I've never been like a vampire lover, except I like Gary Oldman and Dracula. But it's just like Bela Lugosi. He's he's the classic one.
He was just cool.
Yeah. But it's basically me. Creature from the Black Lagoon is always my favorite too. I love that movie. But number 2 is the Wolfman.
And Wendy.
I'm gonna go with Frankenstein as number 1.
So sad.
Exactly. It was so sad. Yes.
It was.
That whole story was just incredibly twisted. And then Wolfman. After that, I didn't really care that much. Godzilla.
I loved Godzilla. Oh my God.
I love a kaiju. Oh, we might have to do a special
show?
on Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla. All the different Godzillas and all the. I actually watched one today with Medora and Rodan and Mothra when Mothra was a caterpillar, did not have his wings, and so he was coming over to save the day. So he spit out his web.
Yes.
So yes.
It was like acidic too. It would burn them.
Yes. So yeah, I actually was watching that today.
I do. Ooh, we might have to have a Godzilla. So we got a Buffy episode. We got a Godzilla episode. We've got a gory favorite kill. Just we're sick fucks episode.
Yes.
But speaking of next episodes, Wendy.
Yes.
Can you tell us about?
Well, actually, June could tell us better because she knows the guy. But we have Michael Merle coming on next week.
It should be really fun. The name isn't really familiar to a lot of people, but he is on. Let's see, God, I get the radio shows mixed up. But he is.
It's not
Dave
Edge
Scott's,
of the Desert, but it's something like that.
He's Dave Scott's kind of sidekick on some of the shows there.
The third Wednesday of the month he's on with Spirits of the Great
Northwest or North.
Oh, Great White North.
Great White North.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, yeah, it took me a minute, but yes, really, really good. So, but he's going to be a really fun. He and his group have done a lot of investigations, and we're also going to talk about Barkerville, British Columbia, which is an awesome place. So it's going to be fun. Fun.
Oh yes, definitely. And
I'll share
the
an
following
EVP.
week, Jacob, I'm going to let you announce that one if you want to, or we can wait.
No, we'll just tease it out. Let's just
okay. All right.
On April 15th, we're going to have Nick Redfern on.
Yes, he will be returning to the fold of Mystic Moon Cafe.
And it's going to also be a night of monsters because he has a new book coming out, Monsters of the Deep, which is all about sea creatures.
Awesome. I love a good sea creature.
Me too. You know I'm going to quiz him all about krakens.
Yes. You can hear about krakens. Yes. Crack-a-lackin' krakens.
Yes.
I want to hear him say Kraken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't even try it with his accent. Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And I'll see if I can get out any of his upcoming media appearances and if In Search of Monsters was renewed and stuff like that.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
So that's the show, folks.
Yay. Thank you.
So
Sorry, I seem to have some background noise going on.
Oh, great.
Excuse me just a moment.
it could be that Deathane from a small German Shepherd dog.
Oh.
I'm not going to comment on what it actually is. So.
Oh, yes.
It's the Deathane.
Oh, yeah. In so many ways.
I wish.
Oh, that was good.
Okay, so
Oh,
with
guys.
that,
Wait. Now,
what?
we did this. You did Mikey and can I get
Oh,
it?
are you going to give us Augie Doggy?
Augie Doggy is not down here,
Okay.
but Dakota Man is.
Okay.
Ooh, that was hot.
We're seeing
Dakota.
all this like
Yeah, it's like,
seizure-inducing flicker.
Did you see his nose hit the camera?
Oh.
I was that teeth? I don't know.
Yeah,
what
was that teeth?
Yes.
It's like, I think it mixed with the background.
Yeah.
Teeth.
Oh, there we go. I got it.
Okay.
Coda. Can you see
Oh,
him?
there we go.
Oh yeah, there he is. Hey Dakota.
He's
Oh, he's
camera
not-
shy.
he's not-
Now we've got like your elbow or something.
Coda. Dakota.
We see bits of puppy dog in there.
There we
Yeah,
go.
there he is.
Not
There he
bad.
is.
Yay!
Oh,
Hi, Dakota.
Hi Dakota.
He's like, what are you doing?
Well, you know,
Exactly.
we've been covering off on the Canis
Aw.
family, so we need more canines in this.
Yes. I have no idea where Augie Doggy has been today. He had a big outside day too, so
Oh, okay.
everybody is.
Aw.
Okay. Well, with that,
Yes, with that.
we have reached the end of the
Bye.
episode. So I've
Mhm.
got a Rob Zombie track to
Oh.
take us out.
Ooh, cool.
Yes.
So with that, I will bid everyone a good night.
And stay
Thank
safe and
you.
healthy. Bye.
Okay, take care, everyone.
Social distancing. See us online.
Yes.
Okay.